Radhe Radhe everyone, welcome to our daily wisdom from Bhagavad Gita session. Nitinji, Radhe Radhe, I see you. Over to you.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Mritavani ji, and thank you, Vijay ji, for a wonderful session. Mam Nama Nitin Asti or Asmi.
Aham Nitin Asmi.
Asmi.
Very nice.
Dhanyavadah. Namo
Namo
Munna Milamaha.
Punah Milama.
Dhanyavad. Okay, so Radhe Radhe everyone. Good morning, good evening. Very warm welcome to all of you to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita session. Let me share my screen and then we will get started by invoking the blessings of God and Guru like we always do. So just give me a sec. Right, you're able to see the screen.
Yes, Nitinji.
Okay, so let's get started. We'll pull up our opening prayers. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Gurave Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum. Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. Very warm welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom. So let's get started. We are on Shloka 4.24, and as part of the Shloka, we are talking about the complete absorption in God consciousness, and we took this opportunity to understand how this creation comes about. And then we got to dissecting our spiritual anatomy as well. What are the different constituents of that? And that is where we are having this discussion. And then we will tie it all together to say, why do we need to develop this consciousness of seeing God in everything? Or how do we make our material things or our material perspective a spiritual perspective in day-to-day things around us? So we will tie it all together, but let's get started by reciting the shloka, and then you're welcome to follow along. We can have a few hands. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. All right, let's take a few hands.
Sandhya, go ahead, please. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
You are on mute, Ma. Go ahead now. Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
Brahmarpanam Brahmavir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina.
Thank you. Let's take a few more
Dinesh
hands.
ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Okay.
Brahmarpanam Brahmahave Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmeva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe, very nice. Thank you. Dinesh.
Aparna ji, please go ahead, Aparna ji.
Radhe Radhe, Aparna ji.
Radhe Radhe. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Thank you.
Please go ahead, Sam ji.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir ब्रह्मज्ञो ब्रह्माहुतं ब्रह्मेव तेन गन्तव्यम् ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना. Radhe Radhe.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a few more
Please
hands.
go ahead, Shyamji.
ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्महविः ब्रह्माग्नो ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मेव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना. राधे राधे.
Radhe Radhe.
Please go ahead, Rahulji.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmeva Tena Gantam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe
Please
Radhe.
go ahead, Tarunji. Please.
राधे राधे ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्महविर् ब्रह्माग्नो ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मेव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना.
Very nice. Thank you.
Please go ahead, Pragiji.
Yeah, thank you, Radhe Radhe. Brahma arpanam Brahma havir Brahma agnau Brahmanahutam Brahmev tena gantavyam Brahma karma samadhina. Radhe
Very
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Okay, we can.
Please go ahead, Riyoji.
Radhe Radhe Riyaji.
ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्महविः ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यम् ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना.
Nice, Riyaji. All right, last but not the least, Amritavanji.
Yes, thank you. Radhe Radhe, everyone.
Radhe.
Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina.
Nice, thank you. So let's get started. So this shloka says that for those who are completely absorbed in God consciousness, the oblation is Brahman, the ladle with which it is offered is Brahman, the act of offering is Brahman, and the sacrificial fire is also Brahman. Such persons who view everything as God easily attain Him. So let's get started. What is our soul soup for the day? All right, so today is 2nd October. Let's take this opportunity to look at these three monkeys. See no evil, hear no evil, and talk no evil. This is a very important concept. Okay, so Gandhiji, three proverbial monkeys, very profound concept. So let's revisit that. We'll talk about it a little bit. And then there's another personality, Lal Bahadur Shastri, whose birthday is today as well. And he gave this slogan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. Right. So Jawan is not the Jawan of the movie that we are seeing these days. This Jawan is the one who's protecting us on the border. And Kisan is the guy people who actually, work in the fields and provide us food. So these proverbial monkeys, they basically tell us, stay away from kusang. Now, kusang is not just when we talk to people who take our mind to worldly affairs, who take our mind to gossips. Kusang can happen through eyes. Now, somebody say, I've been watching a Netflix flick series. Is that a kusang? Actually, technically speaking, anything that takes your mind away from God, more entrench you, which can entrench you further in this world is kusang. Okay, which is a pretty strict definition, but this is how it goes. And this kusang it's very subtle. It will erode your spiritual merit in very, very subtle way. So it is called, there's a analogy that is given in our scriptures of an elephant taking a bath. It is called Kunjar Shachavat. So what happens is, elephant goes and takes a bath, nicely in the river, and immediately afterwards it puts dust on top of it. So kusang works like that. When we are contemplating on this good knowledge, of course we feel uplifted, we feel nice. But when we go out and expose ourselves to this kind of kusang, whether it's through our visual sight, what we are seeing, are we looking at defects in people, are we wasting time by looking at things which are not adding much value other than giving us a temporary dopamine kick, or we are talking bad stuff about others, that is the third one, where we need to be very careful what I'm speaking. Is it true? Is it adding value? Is it beneficial? If not, then we should refrain from talking about it. And then of course the third one is hearing as well. So when we participate in gossiping, we listen to others persons who are usually giving a dump, and just because they need a crying shoulder, or it's like they are overflowing with bitterness and their emotions and they just need to give a dump. When we hear that, they are all kusangs, and we need to stay away from that. It's better to cut that off, because this can erode the merit or the spiritual merit that we have accrued pretty fast. Okay, that can happen. And then of course from Jai Jawan Jai Kisan, one of the key learnings from that is to be grateful for things we take for granted. Now, if we don't have the soldiers protecting us on the border, we cannot have a peaceful sleep. But we take it for granted, right? They are making our life, so peaceful. And it is so important to have that sense of gratitude for so many things that we take for granted. So Jawans, they are the ones who are sacrificing their life every moment. They are taking on that risk so that we can sleep peacefully and we are protected within our borders. And the farmer, if not for the efforts of the farmer, we happily eat food in our kitchen and we say, where does it come from? My mom prepared it. Where did mom get it from? From the store. Where did it come from? The store, right? From the supply chain. Where did they get it, right? From the godown. So where did they get it? It's actually from the farmer. And ironically, farmers are the one who suffer a lot, right? Especially we look at in India, so many suicides happen. So Kisan and Jawan both are celebrated. Yes, Shweta, you had a question already. So we thought we'll take this opportunity to call out the key learnings from these two personalities' life, and because it's October 2 and it's a date, pretty important date from that standpoint. So with that said, now let's move on to our discussion, the shloka discussion. So factually, the objects of the world, they are made from Maya. That is what we are talking about. The material energy of God. We'll talk about this concept a little more. Now, if you look at this fire, energy is both one with its energetic and also different from it. Light is the energy of fire. It can be considered as different from fire because it exists outside it, or you can say this is also part of the fire itself. So this is how the relationship gets established. Let's take this concept a little further. We look at the sun and sunlight. When the rays of the sun enter a room, people say the sun has come. If sun would actually come, we will evaporate, right? We'll burn to ashes. But sun rays have come, so we say sun has come, right? Because it's the energy of sun which has entered our room. And energy is both distinct from the energetic and yet a part of it. This is how the relationship goes. So going by that, you're saying, okay, why are you telling me? So we'll establish that, okay? There are three eternal entities. The Brahma, the God himself. Let's stay quick. The second one is called the Jiva Shakti, which is who we are. And the third one is Maya. Okay, these are the three eternal entities. Nobody has created anybody and nobody can destroy anybody. Okay, in figure of speech, we say God created us, but factually speaking, we are eternal energies of God. We have existed ever since God has existed. Okay, so we can challenge God that you are not senior to us. We are of the same age. And also we can challenge God that, we are also cut from the same cloth as you. We are divine. You are divine too. But after this, the competition ends. Okay, after that, we can't compete. Then the real differences start coming. It's a pretty interesting game in that sense, right? We are divine. And now we have been given the faculties to deal with the Maya, which is made up of Maya as well. This mind, Maharajji's Bhakti Shatak says, right? Man Maya te bana. It's our mind is also made up of the material energy, and it has a sajatiya sambandh. it is cut from the same cloth as the material energy, and so it gravitates towards the material world very naturally and automatically. And you have to put effort to take it to God, right? And that is how the game, God has designed the game, to thicken the plot, okay, for whatever reason. But anyways, now let's move on. These are three eternal entities. So, and God is the energizer of each one of them. And the soul is also the energy of God. It is its spiritual energy called Jiva Shakti. And then God in 7.5 also says, such is my inferior energy. He's talking about Maya. He's calling Maya as his inferior energy. And then he says, beyond it, O mighty armed Arjun, I have a superior energy. This is the Jiva Shakti. We are superior than the Maya energy. The Maya energy around us is Jad. Jad means insentient, that we fall for. And then he's talking about the Jiva Shakti, which comprises the embodied souls who are the basis of life in this world. So that this is who we are. So end of the day, if we can say everything is God, right? And some people say, yes, they're also right. And at the same time, the energies of God are same and yet different from God. So energies of God, they manifest different properties than God himself, even though all are part of God only. Yes, Anya, you had a question?
Just quickly, so Maya is Sanmukh to God and we are Vimukh to God, and hence even though Maya is a lower energy, but it overtakes us.
Maya is Sanmukh to God. Maya, it doesn't have a free will as such, right? Maya is a Jad Shakti of God. It is a servant of God, actually. If you think about it, it is a servant of God and it is doing its job to perfection, right? When you get into a prison house, there is a jailer there. And the job of the jailer is to trouble the prisoners so that the prisoners know this is not the right place to be in. So that the prisoners have an incentive to behave well and get out of the jail. So this jail is the world of Maya, right? And Maya itself is the jailer also. And jailer will keep on troubling you through those three, Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik, Adhyatmik, all the troubles that come in terms of natural disasters, the trouble that our mind inflicts upon us, the trouble that other people inflict upon us, all those troubles we'll have to deal with. So Maya is doing its job perfectly. So Sanmukh, Vimukh, I don't know, yeah, probably it's Sanmukh to God only because it's an energy of God and it is serving God directly. But we are not yet serving God. So in that sense, yes, it is Sanmukh. And it has overpowered us. We are Mayadheen, God is Mayadhish. That is the difference. We are under the sway of Maya and God is the boss of Maya, energizer of Maya, Mayadhish. Okay, so, and this is a little bit like this. Everything is God, right? Anything and everything permeating this universe is God himself. The air we breathe is energized by God. Even the laptop or the mobile that you're looking at is basically the basis of that is God, right? If you look at the subatomical particles, if the energy of God, which is Garbhodeshai Vishnu, by the way, who has permeated every atom of this universe, if that thing leaves the God particle, elusive God particle search that is going on, if that particle leaves, then everything will become plasma. So the solid matter, liquid, cannot sustain itself if the energy of God leaves it. Right? Science would tell us that even at a micro level, all the way up to the macro level, celestial, not celestial, but the planets and all, heavenly planets and other planets for that matter, they have certain mass, they have certain rotation, they are on a certain axis, they have a velocity, they are rotating on their axis and they are rotating around another body as well. And even if one of the variable changes, the mass or the axis or the spin or the velocity, then they will just collapse, but nothing is happening. It's just happening perfectly. And same thing happens in the subatomical particles as well. For the matter to be sustained, there's a spin, around the nucleus, the tilt and everything is happening perfectly. So that is how God orchestrates to manage everything. Now, if he leaves it, everything will become plasma. So despite the fact we have God everywhere around us, we have no perception of it. It's a little bit like this ant that we spoke about, who's surrounded by a sugar hill and still feeling, it's tasting salty, no perception of it. And that is because of the imperfect senses. And imperfect senses is what we are trying to dissect. The three bodies that we have to cut through all that stuff to get to our understanding who we are, and then finally get to a realization that we are an eternal part of God, and as being a fragmental part of God, we have to serve him, and that is how we complete the process. Okay, so let's go into the analytical aspect of what we were talking about yesterday. The three bodies we spoke about: the sthul sharir, the gross body, sukshma sharir, and karan sharir. These are the three things. Okay, we left it at a particular point where we spoke about what are the bodies. Gross body we have to leave behind, and sukshma bodies retained until certain pralay, and then in mahapralay even the sukshma bodies gone. You only have causal body. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So these three bodies we spoke about, it accompanies with Jeev, but at God realization, then at that point the Jeev will become free from Maya. And then these material bodies are also gone at that point. From that moment, the Jeev is given a divine body which lasts forever. And in scriptures, there are different names for this body. When you get an upgrade, these three bodies are gone. You get an upgraded. What is that upgrade you get? You get a Divya Deh, they call it, or Chinmay Deh, or Gunatit Deh, or Bhagavad Gita. There are different names for that. And that Deh is not made up of material energy of God, which is Panch Mahabhut, right? Ether, water, air, fire, and soil and mud. It's made up of Chit, Sat, Chit, and Anand. It's made up of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, right? Those are subtle elements. We can't see that now. That is what it is made up of at that moment, right? When it becomes divine, basically. Now, 4 forms of pralays or dissolution are enumerated in Vedas. Let's talk a little bit about that. Pralays. One is called Nitya Pralay. So when we fall into deep sleep, our consciousness goes through dissolution daily. We fall asleep, our consciousness goes through dissolution. It is called Nitya Pralay. We all experience. Right? When Brahmaji sleeps, that is a different kind of a pralay. But when we sleep, it's called Nitya Pralay. Okay. Sleep is also at different levels. When you sleep, I think different stages of sleep. There is a Tandra Avastha, then you Swapna Avastha, then Sushupti, Turiya, and all that stuff. When you have deep sleep, that's where consciousness, you basically lose sense of your consciousness at that point, and you just enjoy that sleep. So it is called Nitya Pralay, where we sleep every day. The second kind of pralay is called Naimittik Pralay. Okay, Naimittik Pralay is one day of Brahmaji. Okay, where end of Brahmaji's day, all the abodes up to Maharlok dissolute, all the way up to Brahmalok. They remain in a state of suspended animation in the body of Vishnu. And one day of Brahma is pretty long, by the way. It's not a small, I'll quickly tell you that calculation again, which we have looked at multiple times in the past as well. And then when Brahmaji wakes up, it's time to get back to business again. Creation comes about every day. Night, day, night, day, night. That's how it happens. And then all the lokas, they manifest again, and souls are reborn based on their past karmas. Yes, Monica ji, you had a question?
Radhe Radhe. Nitin ji, dissolution daily as in, does it dissolve, or how do you, I mean, what happens to the soul?
The soul, if you look at the souls, they become unmanifest at that point. And they reside in the body of Vishnu, Mahodar of Vishnu. Mahodar means in his belly. Okay, so you are in a dormant state at that moment. Based with your karmas, of course. And then you are manifested again, and you are put in a suitable womb at that point. Okay. Now, from a science standpoint, this is which is called Big Bang. Okay, science can go as far as, there was some condensed mass which exploded, and that creation came about. Our scriptures tell us, Brahmaji unleashes, Vishnu unleashes, and then Brahmaji goes about doing the creation, and that whole cycle repeats itself. Brahmananda Valli talks about this, how this creation comes about when Brahmaji wakes up every day. Yes, Samji, you had a question?
Radhe Radhe. So basically, in Naimittik Pralay and Mahapralay, both are unmanifest, and both remain in the body, stomach of Mahavishnu. But I think in the Naimittik Pralay, only the subtle body and the causal bodies are there.
Very
But in
true.
Mahapralaya, only the causal body is there, just to summarize for myself.
Very
Correct?
true.
Thank
Very
you.
true. In fact, it is called a cycle of Srishti, Sthiti, and Pralay. Srishti means creation, Sthiti is maintenance, and then Pralay. The difference between Mahapralay and Pralay is that in Mahapralay, your subtle body is also gone, only causal body remains. In Pralay, your subtle body is also it's there. Right? So this is the only difference, very true. And then Mahapralay happens at the end of Brahmaji's life. Brahmaji's life is 100 years. Rounded up to 100 years.
3
And,
point something trillion.
yeah, and which is one breath of Mahavishnu, by the way. And the final pralay that we are waiting for with bated breaths, that is why we are reading Bhagavad Gita and we align to scriptures, is Atyantik pralay. This is the dissolution from the clutches of Maya that has been binding us the soul eternally. It takes place when soul finally attains God and liberated forever from the cycle of birth and death. That is the good pralay, basically, where you're not obligated to come back again into this world. Then you can enjoy your lottery forever, right? It's like hitting a lottery, going to Hawaii of God's abode and then never to come back again, enjoy perpetually. Okay, that is the pralay we need to be part of. Yes, Sam, you had a question as well.
In both in naimittic pralay as well as Mahapralay, souls go into the body of Vishnu. But is it that in Mahapralay, it is clearly stated that it goes into Mahavishnu, into the body of Mahavishnu, Mahodar of Mahavishnu. But in naimittic, like Garbhodakshaya Vishnu?
No, Mahavishnu is different from Vishnu. Each universe has its own Vishnu, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. And then there is Mahavishnu Tattva as well. Mahavishnu is Maha, right? Yeah. So Mahavishnu is like, now he's the governor of all the universes. Vishnu is a governor of one universe only. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, but that Vishnu is called Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, isn't it?
If you want to call him Garbhodakshaya, so I think see the Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is basically which permeates every atom of this universe.
No, that is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu.
Okay, if you want to contest that, sure, we can revisit that topic. Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is the one who is Paramatma inside us. Right? What, as far as I know, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is somebody who permeates even the energy spin of each planet is dictated by that. If I'm wrong, that's fine, but I think we don't get hung up on that itself. Let's understand Vishnu. Within Vishnu, whether it's Garbhodakshaya or Kshirodakshaya, we don't have to get into the technicality of that, right? We can get into that. Those are all plenary expansions of Mahavishnu. Let's understand. But for our discussion's sake, let's understand that every universe has its own Vishnu, Brahma and Mahesh. And then Mahavishnu Tattva is like governor of all the universes. And one breath of Mahavishnu is equal to 100 years of Brahma. And one day of Brahma is what we are going to look at now. Okay. All right. So with that, Atyantik Pralay is the ultimate Pralay that we...
Question. Sorry to interrupt, Nitinji.
Sure.
What is the meaning of consciousness dissolved?
Consciousness dissolved means you are unmanifest, dormant state at that point. It's like you are in a deep sleep and you are not even aware of that. When you see, it's like I always used to wonder, why did God do this creation? Why not there be a vacuum? Did God run out of entertainment to have some kind of a fun at our expense? It took me a while to understand this concept that actually God unleashes us from time to time to give us an opportunity to become like him, and it is his mercy. Just think of a scenario that you are in a deep sleep. If you're in deep sleep, you are in a state of bliss. But the irony is that you are not even aware who you are, and you are not even aware you are in bliss. So you don't have an existence at that point. And if you don't have an existence, how can you feel the bliss of God when you become God realized? So we might have given up on ourselves, but God has not given up on us. He has faith in us in one day where we will reach that perfection. And that is why he keeps on putting us back and giving us multiple opportunities. Okay. And the unmanifest state is where we don't have any consciousness. We are in a deep sleep, lying. We don't even know we are lying, and then we get unleashed again. This is how it goes. We are put in a mother's womb, then we struggle there. make a lot of resolves. It's very painful, by the way. Death is painful. Birth is even more painful. And these are the two levers, God, basically, which erases most of our memories from our past life. Sometimes residual memories remain. Nyaya Darshan says, a kid will laugh and cry unknowingly because some of the residual, and then when the impressions of this life starts falling upon them, those are also erased gradually. Swamiji was telling a story that one of his neighbor's daughter, she was Hindu and she would read namaz every day. And her mother was very worried. She said, I don't know why she does that. I mean, we have nothing of that sort, and she somehow does that every day. But then, as she grew up, 7, 8 years old, I think the impressions of current life fell, and then she stopped that practice. And the only way you can explain that is, previous janma. We don't know who's going to get placed in which womb, right? So this is how it typically works, and that is the premise of Bhagavad Gita. You are not going anywhere. We are all going to get recycled. That's all. Okay, nothing going basically. We are just coming back again and again and again. Even after God realization, your existence does not cease to exist. Then you are in perpetual bliss. You can serve God, be with Him, and be part of His pastimes. But we are not going anywhere. It's like energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. We are not going anywhere. So we are perfectly safe in that sense. However, it's a journey that the sooner we or the better we align to these principles, the more blissful it becomes. Otherwise, it's not a blissful journey. It's walking on a very treacherous path, where at every step there is a danger and there is anxiety, stress, trouble waiting for us, right? Unless we are working consciously on it and getting closer to the goal of life. Now let's move on. So breath. Okay, so this is just to give you a one day of Brahma. Okay, for the benefit of people who might be joining new, it blows away your mind, right? When you listen to this calculation for the first time, the scriptures, they go to that length of explanation of these, right? The Satyug, see, the smallest one is Kalyug, where people are partying. You see that? This is what people like to do in Kalyug, 4,32,000 years. Double of that is Dwapar, which is 864. 3 times is Treta, 1296, where Lord Ram had taken avatar. And then 4 times of that is Satyug. If you combine all of them, that is called one Mahayug, which is 4.32 million years. You multiply it with 71, it becomes one Manvantar. You multiply it with 14, that becomes 1 day of Brahma, not even a night. And, okay, this is how 1 day of Brahma is. And in 1 day of Brahma, one avatar, Purna avatar of Krishna takes place. And the one that took place 5,000 years back was the one. Okay, so we are not very far off from. So in cosmic sense, human age is nothing. We think of 100 years as a big thing. It's nothing. It's like not even a microsecond if you look at from a cosmic calculation standpoint. So this is 1 day of Brahma and 100 years of Brahma. So in 1 day of Brahma, the pralay happens. And in 100 years of Brahma, Mahapralay happens. This is the cosmic cycle. Okay. Science has not reached as far as now. We are in the 7th Manvantar. It is called Vaivaswat Manvantar that we are in right now. And Brahmaji celebrated his golden jubilee, 51 years recently. Okay, so another 49 years before we have a Mahapralay again. I don't know how many lifetimes he would have spent by then. Okay. But we are not even sure which Brahmaji's universe we will be put into, because our Brahmaji's has only 4 heads. There are Brahmaji's who have million, trillion heads as well. So we can't even imagine how vast their universe would be. So we are not even able to explore our own solar system. Forget about Milky Way and then the rest of the universe. And there are billions of universes out there. Yeah. Okay.
2 quick questions, Nitinji. In the stages of Paramapurush, Prakriti, Mahan, Ahankar, Pantan Matras, which stages come under Vidya Maya and which are all Avidya Maya? That's question number 1 from one of them. And the second one is from another person.
Yes, sorry. Go ahead, please. Second question. Sorry about that. Please go ahead.
No, no worries. The second one is, in moksha, do you feel the bliss? 2 different questions from 2 people.
I need to know the name of the person who's asking this question.
First one is from Sanji, second one is from Neil Patelji.
Okay. Right. So the first one, yeah, the Vidya Maya, and the Maya has 2 components to it, Vidya Maya and Avidya Maya. Up to, I think, Panch Tan Matras, it is called Avidya Maya, which you can conquer based on your self-effort alone. But the Mahat and Hankar Tattva, or those elements you cannot without God's grace. That goes into Vidya Maya. Okay. Now, do you experience bliss in moksha? Now, yeah, so it is like this. The difference between Premanand and moksha is there is a Rasgulla. Now, would you rather eat the Rasgulla, taste the Rasgulla, or becoming a Rasgulla yourself? So let's say there's a donut. Would you rather become a donut or taste the donut? But moksha is not an ordinary Rasgulla. Okay, this is just to explain the concept that you can relish it more. It's like a honeybee would relish honey more than becoming honey itself. But this is not an ordinary honey we are talking about. So yes, of course, there is bliss in moksha, right? Moksha is a spiritual milestone. But if you're going to ask me in relative sense, then moksha is insipid in front of Premanand, the divine love of God. Okay, that much I can tell you. Of course, there is bliss, right? Nirvana, it is bliss. That is why people go for moksha, go for nirvana. But on the path of devotion, they reject moksha also, because moksha is insipid in front of the divine love of God, because divine love of God is the highest power of God. And whichever soul is fortunate enough to get that, moksha is a byproduct of it anyways. They don't care for it. So they reject moksha, bhukti and mukti both. Yes, Pratyusha? Good question. So,
those who attain moksha, do they get recycled again because they are just merging in the Brahma aspect?
no.
And on the other side, the ones who are getting
moksha is a spiritual milestone, when I said. And when I say something is a spiritual milestone, that means you are already beyond the Brahma's abode, all the material abodes. And there's no coming back. You may come back as a saint or something, right? But you are not obligated to come back once you
So I was talking about the point where your ego is getting disillusioned completely. So from at that point, you are a part of the Brahm, that's the external, the light portion. So is there the Maya can do Brahm on you and no?
you are beyond the clutches of Maya at that point. It's an irreversible process. Let me put it that way. It's not like, hey, yesterday I had moksha, today I'm under Maya. Or yesterday I realized God, today I'm again back to square one. No, it's a state which is a permanent state.
Only thing is you cannot experience it. Just it's that you become a light in that.
Yeah, you can experience it. You are in that perpetual bliss. But what I'm trying to tell you here is that bliss is insipid in front of the divine love of God, and you are bereft of the opportunity to enjoy the personal association of God and be part of his gang as opportunity to serve him for the rest of eternity. You have given up that opportunity. So if you ask somebody in the devotional path, they also call it as spiritual suicide. They have given up that opportunity. And Maharaji used to say it's better to be reborn as a human and have that opportunity to get the divine love of God rather than, merging with his effulgence alone. Don't go for that. Don't settle for less. Okay, go for the top prize of God. That's what he used to say. Okay, this is how it goes. Yeah. Good questions though. Now, this is what we're talking now. I'm going to introduce a couple of other bodies as well, just to freak you out a little. Now, there is something called Ativahik Sharir as well. Ativahik Sharir is after death body which is made of air. It's a transient state in between. It travels with the soul along with Sukshma Sharir and Karan Sharir to Yamlok. Okay, to the journey of Yamlok. Yes, Monica, you had a question? Go ahead, please, and then I'll explain this as well.
Nitinji, just real quick. So I was explaining the concept of creation and how God wants us to be like him and give us the opportunity. So the creation starts with Satyug. So is it correct to say that in Satyug we had the knowledge through rishis and munis, and this knowledge was there always that we are under Maya and our ultimate goal is to achieve divine, right? So now in Kali Yuga, obviously this knowledge is there, but then we are selective about this, and then obviously based on our past karma and all that. But in Satyug, everybody had that knowledge. So the fair chance was given to us that this knowledge was always there, and then whatever we chose was the reason for us to be, taking birth again and again.
See, there is no guarantee that we are part of the Satyug as well, right? You are looking at it from one frame of reference. It's not like all the souls, 7 billion first Satyug, then this, not necessarily. It's a very complex algorithm. While the Satyuga is going on, there may be Kali going on in some other Brahmand, right? There could be cycles. Maybe we have 4 cycles. They may have 10 cycles. We don't know that, right? So it's very difficult to. It's oversimplification of understanding. We were first in Satyuga and this. They're not necessarily possible.
Okay.
We have been part of. We have been part of. When God has taken avatar, yes, we have seen him as well, but we have no ways to know that. But not it's oversimplification in your head if you think we were first in Satyuga and then this. Not necessarily. We don't know. So God puts souls based on their sanskars, karmas, and a lot of different variables would come into picture to say that. But let me just simply tell you that one thing, that the other eras like Satyuga and all, the benchmark itself is very high. Right? For you to attain God, you have to do much more because the bar is high there. Right? It's like going to a high school where you have a pretty good soccer team. Now, for you to make that team, you have to put in a lot of hard work. And then you go to a school where their soccer team is not so good. So in Kali Yuga, even though we are weak, we are intellectually not so strong as people used to be in Satyuga. They will listen once and they will remember forever, right? Our memories are weak. We are mentally fragile. And then, our minds are not strong and we are afflicted with so many things. But higher the threat, the bigger the opportunity as well. And God has simplified this process for us in Kali Yuga, where they say you just do devotion, Harinam Sankirtan, and that is good enough for you. But if you were in Satyuga or some other era, the bar would have been higher because the competition is higher, because the soul's level is higher. So we don't know whether we are part of that and why we came here. So just to keep it simple, we are in Kali Yuga, we have a huge opportunity, right? By simplified process, and that's what we should try to make out. But yeah, that's quite possible that we have experienced all the eras, Satyug, and then we have gone through that journey. That is quite possible too. But God has that algorithm why he's placing certain souls in a particular era, right? All right. With that, now there's an Ativahik Sharir we are talking about. Now this is the one which travels with soul along with the Sukshma and Karan Sharir to Yamlok, and then establishes the soul with subtle bodies in a womb to take form of another gross body, which is called Bhog Sharir. And then the individual undergoes the fruits of his bad deeds for millions of human years with Ativahik Sharir. Now you may say that, okay, what happens when somebody goes to, somebody has done bad deeds and they have to face certain consequences around it. How would they experience it, right? If they don't have a body. It's only through a body we experience, right? But they are given that kind of a temporary body to go through that. That's why that is called Ativahik Bhog Sharir is given to them, and it can happen for millions of years. Okay, now that is why the least we can do while we are on this earth is to not do bad deeds, not do ill deeds because of our ignorance, pure ignorance. So it's important to understand the principle and align to it as best as possible, and especially if you're in the path of devotion, then God and Guru will do the course correction for you because you are automatically relying on them, right? So it's why devotion is very, very important in the age of Kali. And then there is Bhavde, which I have already spoken. It's a divine body created when Jeev performs devotion to God. So when you do Roop Dhyan, when you do those simulations, you are already preparing your Bhavde that you will get if you fructify your devotion. And then God, Jivas, they have been given the liberty to worship God with any of the devotional sentiments. We have spoken about this in the past. There are 5 devotional sentiments in which you can worship. You can prepare your bhavde. Dasya bhav, sakhya bhav, vatsalya bhav, madhurya bhav. As a servant to God, as a friend to God, as a kid, you can treat God as a kid. Take care of him. Say, God, you are dependent on me. I'll take care of you. God is more than happy to be dependent on you in that sense, like we take care of our kids. And then the Madhurya Bhav is a beloved, right? You are my beloved, divine beloved, and I'll take care of you. So that is another Bhav in which we can do. So when we do these Bhavs, we are actually preparing the Bhav Day. That is what we get. And the Bhav that Jeev chooses most often becomes predominant in his Bhav Day. And this is how we are actually, the simulation that you do is going to contribute towards your Bhav Day. The practice of Bhakti strengthens Paripakva, this body. So these are the 2, Ativahik and Bhavde. Okay, a lot of quiz questions are going to come. Okay, so please do check it out clearly. I'm getting confused now. All right, now let's understand. The Bhagavatam states that one who sees God everywhere, see, it's the reiteration of the shloka that we are doing. is the highest spiritualist. Who is the highest spiritualist? Who sees God everything, right? Paramhans we spoke about, if you remember. For such advanced spiritualists whose minds are completely absorbed in God consciousness, the person making the sacrifice, the object of the sacrifice, instruments of the sacrifice, sacrificial fire, act of sacrifice, all perceived as non-different from God. Same concept repeated in Bhagavatam as well. Now let's try to have a little bit of a discussion on this topic. This is an important topic, practical aspect from this shloka. Now here is world, right? And here is God. Material to spiritual. How do we transform our consciousness, right? This shloka is saying you should perceive God in everything here. But what is our stepping stone? How do I relate to my practical life situations to say, how do I practice this concept? Okay. Now, anything we can do it as an offering to God. We can use our materialistic things for a service to God. These will no longer remain materialistic, but they can become spiritual. Right? So, like if we use technology, right now we are using technology to record a Gita session, to watch each other, to discuss, make slides or hear Gita session. Then we are using this materialistic technology for the service of the Lord. And it becomes spiritual. Right? So this is how it goes. If you are good in technology, you help in the seva of God. These days you can help out in so many ways. If you are good in singing, you can sing for God. If you are good in cooking, you cook with the sentiment that you are going to, prepare something for your God and have him relish meal along with you. So any consciousness can be diverted towards God consciousness. There's nothing material. Everything can become spiritual at that point. It's just the consciousness that you're bringing to the fold. And when you inspire people or get them on this path, right, by, let's say, the technology can go viral. That's why we say if you're helping out in building content, if you're helping out in liking, sharing, distributing stuff, or helping out, right, you may end up inspiring somebody. We never know. There are a lot of people here. If you ask them, how did you start? You know what? I got this link from somewhere. How did you get that link? Somebody would have shared it. Or, you know what? I came across this video. And there's a video from Swamiji said, okay, after you watch this, you will stop wasting your life. And that video has transformed so many lives. Somebody shared it. Somebody clicked on it. And that's how their journey started. So, seva or turning your material consciousness to spiritual can happen in so many ways. We don't need to be sitting in a temple or having a one-on-one with God. Everything can be converted into a spiritual consciousness in our day-to-day lives. Right? So, and that is the key concept to understand. We are not lost children of the Lord. Now think of it, if somebody is lost, let's say we go to carnival and a kid is lost. Kid is lost, you will put it in lost and found, and then one day somebody, one day after a couple of hours, it's a huge carnival with tens and thousands of people, and you are like going through that trauma that I've lost my kid. Somebody brings it to you. How relieved you would feel, how grateful you would be. Right? Similarly, we are lost children of the Lord. God is waiting for us with, open arms to come back. You take one step, I'll take 100. That's what God says. And we just have to acknowledge that relation. So when we are helping others to recognize our relationship with him, it's like walking them home. We are all trying to walk each other home. Right? When we go back home from school, like that. And when we do that, like, what would a parent like anything more than somebody bringing his lost child to him? So this process is like a magic wand, yagya, which transform materialistic thing to spiritual thing. Now, if you can become an instrument in getting somebody on this path, in whatever way, little things, right, that we can do, and whatever we talents God has bestowed us, we can bring it to the fore for the service of God. There's nothing more pleasing to God than that. And then you have already taken a huge step towards converting your materialistic consciousness towards a spiritual consciousness. We don't have to do yagya, or we don't have to leave everything that we are doing and go to a forest and start doing. No, spirituality is not about that. It's about just tweaking your thought process, motivation behind what you are doing. That's all. You continue to do what you are doing, and that itself, that act will be purifying. It becomes a spiritual act at that point, more than a materialistic act. Right? We can listen to music. If you're good at singing, we can, sing for God. We are good at cooking, we can cook for God, do that bhog and offer him a silent gratitude for offering food to us. Anything and everything that we do can actually be channelized towards a spiritual act. And when we start building that, of course, we'll start developing that perspective that this whole world is a veritable form of God. And, everything is emanating from him, and we can put everything to his service alone, right? And then that will give us, basically, eventually help us build the perspective that this shlok is talking about. Spiritual perspective, so to say. Yes, Sandhya, had a question?
Actually, I just wanted to add this, that like if we are good in even binge watching videos, then also we can do say it in the form of seva, like what we were discussing, right? Like, and that's a new seva that has come up for all our seva team members, like watching Swamiji's videos, learning from it, and doing something special out of it, which we will describe later, I think in message or something. But yeah,
there's always
I'm
something we
doing
can-
that.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about that as well. But what I'm trying to say here is that there's always something we can do. We always think, I may not have the talents, I don't have this. But then if we really think there's always something we can do, contribute, not just for seva, I'm saying building that perspective. Every perspective, we can actually dovetail it towards God, and then that becomes a stepping stone. One thing leads to another, to another, to another. And before you realize, you start, realizing and perceiving divinity in things around us. And then the bliss that you get out of that is a sure shot testimony, right? That they say the proof is in the pudding. When you start getting into that, your own experience, your own realizations will tell you, yeah, something right is happening now, which I never experienced when I used to do potlucks or socialize or go to parties. Okay, you'll see that difference, and you'll realize something good has started happening, something special has started happening. That first step is needed, of course. Yes, Aparna ji.
Radhe Radhe. I had a quick question. You said in another universe there could be a different yoga going on that triggered my interest. So could there be like a Treta yoga going on somewhere, and
Now that we are talking, there's a good possibility that there's a Bhagavad Gita going on somewhere. Lord Krishna is reciting it to Arjun, or Ram avatar is taking place somewhere else. Ram and Krishna avatar are pretty popular avatars, and God is a frequent traveler. He's not resting just like that. So yeah, there's a possibility. Nobody can rule that out. There are infinite universes, and God avatars, Hari Anant, Hari Katha Anant. He's always traveling. He doesn't need a visa or a stamping to travel anywhere, right? He can take avatar wherever he wants. It's going on as we speak. Somewhere there's a good possibility it might be going on somewhere. But what piqued your interest in that, and what are we going to do with that? Nothing, right?
there, I don't know. That could be a stepping stone to, go look. I was just wondering.
Right. So God avatar could be taking place anytime. It is pretty shaman. God is always doing an avatar somewhere or other, right? He keeps himself busy, right? He's anyway overworked. If you think about his job function, right? You've seen Bruce Almighty. He becomes God for one day. He hits F5 and so many emails flood his mailbox. Somebody's sending prayer, somebody's cursing, somebody said, oh God, why did you do that? So many things happen, but he can manage it all without stress because he has his Yogamaya power with him, right? But yeah, that is a possibility too. Yes, Lakshmi, you had a question too? A lot of violence happening, I think, at your end, so you may want to. Okay. Lakshmi, there's a lot of backdrop happening. Anybody has any other questions on the chat? Today, feedback tracker, can we post that? I missed out on the questions yesterday. So if you have any questions, please put it in the feedback tracker. Even if you don't have any questions, you can say Radhe Radhe and hello. I always like to hear that. And if you have some feedback you didn't like or you would like to see more of, put that as well, please. Any other questions before we move on to some other things that I think Sunday you wanted to show? I think you have some video you wanted to show and Seva tracker as well, but let's take Samji's question and we'll get to that.
Please go ahead, sir.
Nothing yesterday I could not ask you because I think you were busy. You said that the Vishnu doos and the Yam doos, they come and take the soul with them. But at the same time, I think earlier you mentioned at that time, in the 3-day morning period, and the soul is rotating in the house somewhere and all those things. So you mean those 3 days, the Yamadoos and Vishnu doos, they are just waiting, or they take the soul? If they take the soul, there is nothing left.
I think
They are just on the waiting, sitting outside.
probably they give soul a grace period, all right. Maybe they say that, okay, let's go and have tea for 3 days while you get a closure. Something like that arrangement, I
Or
think.
they are having their breakfast in the meantime, let the soul stay there for 3 days.
I think so.
I'm just kidding.
Possibly something like that, I guess. See, when they come, they cut the astral cord. Their job is to dissociate the soul from the body because it has to leave now. After that, I think they give a bit of a grace period. See, even when we talk about the rituals that happen, right, for people do it after any year, 4 year. So if you think about it, if soul is actually traveling, right, and then with the planets which are at a higher speed, higher up there, interstellar concept, right, there it might be from a soul standpoint, it might be a few seconds while it is completing in journey, but on the earth few years have passed. That is why they are continuing with the rituals and stuff like that. Whether they're truly helping the soul or not is a secondary question, but from a time standpoint, I always used to think why people do 1 year and few years, and then the soul, would it be in a suspended state for that long? But if you think about it, it's doing its journey in planets, and time is relative. So if you are actually at a higher planets, which is going at a very high speed, few seconds of that journey would result in few years down here. Maybe that's how they have calculated it. But yeah, it's a good question. If soul is rotating, what are Yamdoots doing, right? It's a pretty interesting question. I don't know what do they do. Maybe they hang around with the soul for a while, make it its friend on the way and something like that, I guess. Yes, Pooja ji.
Radhe Radhe Nitin Bhaiya. On the same ground of questions which Aparna ji asked about Ramayana and Mahabharata being run on in a different universe as well. So as our Vedas say that Ramayana and Mahabharata happen in Bharatvarsh. So do we also have another Bharatvarsh in a different universe?
Possibly, yes. In fact, I heard somewhere that Bharatvarsh and these kind of things, they could be part of other universes as well. They may have their own Bharatvarsh version there as well, right? So if you look at it, that whole area is tectonic shifts, right? It's at the center of the globe. So yeah, they may have their own geographies, but yeah, God picks up a particular spot or an area to take a dissension in. Now, is it called Bharatvarsh there or something else? I don't know, but yeah,
Okay.
it's a possibility. In every universe, there is one.
Nice.
It's a mind-boggling. This creation is mind-boggling. You can't even think about, this, how overwhelming it can be, how big it is. That is why some of the stars that we see on the sky, right, in a very clear sky, it's not for the decoration of the sky. I don't know how much vast this creation is. It's very difficult to conceive it, actually, if you think about it. If you simply go through some of these calculations, they are like mind-boggling. And when we talk about the time period of 5,000 years, 5,000 years in cosmic sense is like Krishna, if he goes back to Golok, right? He is not even picked up his flute as yet, and 5,000 years would have passed here on our earth. Right? It's like a cosmic fraction, or maybe just had a tea, and here 5,000 years have passed, and we are already talking about his Bhagavad Gita, right? So in cosmic sense, it is just a very, very small amount of time. And we think 100 years of our life, which hardly anybody gets to, is a long time. It's not. It's a kshanabhangur. Zindagi is kshanabhangur. Naimittik pralay that we spoke about, so many species, small insects, they complete so many of their life cycles while we are asleep in night. And similarly, when Brahmaji is asleep, I don't know how many centuries of or how many births we have taken place. Right? So yeah, it happens like that. Okay, Sandhya, you wanted to show something? Please go ahead. I'm going to stop share, and then let's talk about our Seva scoreboards as well. Please do fill out the feedback tracker and stay back. I think she wants to show something interesting. So let's look at
first the Seva scoreboard, then the video. Or
I have no preference whatsoever.
okay, I'll first show the Seva scoreboard. Okay. I think you can see, right? Okay, perfect. So yes, this is the scoreboard for the last 7 days. And this time, enthusiastic team is on the lead. So cheers to you. And soon after them is Vinamra, then Selfless, and Ananya. I guess only one person from Ananya has filled their scores for the past week, which is Sri Ramya ji. No one else has. So yeah, that. But from, I think from Vinamra team as well as enthusiastic, most of the people have filled their scores. From Selfless also, Shyamji and Jyoti and Pallavi ji are quite active. So yeah, cheers to all those who have been keeping up with it, and request to others who couldn't take out time in the last week to now get back to it. That's it, I guess. And content creation is something I think that has picked up quite well after our Leela presentation scores being added as well. And I think everybody hasn't yet. So I encourage that all of you also start adding your Leela presentation scores. That's huge bonus points, which will change things drastically. Yeah, that's it for the Seva scoreboard.
See, our
Now,
man is made up of Maya. We spoke about this concept, right? So for us to take our man away from Maya, which is not a normal thing, it's not an easy thing. It's like gravity. It just sucks you. If you have to go against gravity, then you have to put in effort. And Seva is one of the ways where you are working against that gravity, right? It's something that you are doing for a bigger purpose, not for something that you get paid for. But take on that opportunity. In fact, it reminds me of a joke. There was a guy who was, see, our man is so much engrossed in this world that it just comes naturally to us, right? All the moments. So he says, he was on the verge of dying and he says, where is my son? First son. So they say, Father, he's here only standing by you. You're not able to see him, but he's here, very much here. He said, okay, then there is my second son. He said, he's on this side, he's standing here. He said, where's my third son? He said, he's sitting right next to your head only. He said, where's my fourth son? He said, he's again near your head on the other side. He said, if all of them are there, then who's sitting on my shop? So he's worried about his shop, right? So that is how our mind goes. Throughout our life, even when God gives us a warning in terms of old age, but we don't understand. And even then our mind keeps on getting absorbed in the world only. Worldly objects, things, relatives, shop, money, property, all that thing just keeps on coming in our head. So that is why the sooner we start building Nishkam Sanskars with starting doing Seva, the better off we are. Okay, it will really help in long run. With that, Sandhya, over to you. You wanted to show something as well?
yes, so one reminder, Nitinji, regarding tomorrow's class, we need to make announcement because of the clash.
I wanted to announce, yeah, let's put that. Thanks for the reminder. So tomorrow we have Swamiji's Angels meeting for the fundraiser that's happening, and it's conflicting with the session exactly at the same time. So we'll basically have to cancel tomorrow's session because it's an important meeting. We all want to be part of that, and we will resume on Wednesday. Wednesday, not Wednesday morning, but Thursday morning India time, and Wednesday evening US time. Basically 1 day's gap would come. Not ideal, but it's an too important a meeting not to be missed.
Okay, cool. And then there is like before I show the special video, there's another announcement that's regarding this new app that has been launched, which is called Radha Krishna Bhakti app. Officially, it will be launched in the next SMX session, which is on October 10th. But it's available for you all to use. So I would strongly encourage people to try it out. It gives you, it's like a place where you get all the updates, information, resources offered by JKO all at one place. So
Great.
Please check out this app and make use of it. And now the time for the special video. Let me just start sharing the sound. Okay. Was it
Short,
very quick? Should I re-show or it's done?
short and sweet. That's good. So yeah, you can share it with. I think we've put it on the CIC, not yet, maybe. But yeah, I mean, look at this, and if you can help spread the word around, maybe help somebody, who can join and benefit from this wonderful knowledge that we contemplate upon and discuss every day. That will be a huge seva as well. Like trying to walk somebody home, and if you become an instrument in that, even better, right? So thank you for our video team, more specifically.
One of one of our very enthusiastic team member from the team enthusiastic has actually compiled this beautiful video.
Yeah, and her name is Chicky, by the way. So thank you so much for that, Chicky. Good job putting it together, short and sweet. So yeah, look out for opportunity. I think what we have seen over the last couple of years is most of the people who join these, they come through, they either end up getting a link from somewhere or mostly come through the testimonial, verbal testimonial, because it's working and they just come it out. So do that. You never know that who can benefit from this amazing piece of knowledge that we get to discuss every day.
And just to add, this is where the pictures that we take at the end of every month goes. So yeah, you will get to see all of you in these videos.
Right. We will create periodic videos like this, and you'll be able to see a lot of familiar faces as we saw in that video as well. So thank you for putting it together. Okay. Are we good then?
Ji says would like to appreciate the volunteer who worked on this reel.
May I request the volunteer to come on screen and announce herself?
Let me unmute. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Kavita.
Great job.
Would you like to come on screen and talk about your experience creating this wonderful video?
Okay, honestly, I make everything, every reel, I do every seva just to impress and please my Swamiji, my Guru.
That's
फिर
so
बन
sweet.
जाता है अच्छा.
That's so sweet of you, Chiki. Very nice.
Thank you.
Seva, and thank you for putting it together and bringing smile to our faces as well. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Awesome. Okay, so you wanted to announce anything else as well, Sandhya?
No, I mean the seva, the video thing, I think I'll put down as a message in the seva group so that everybody understands it properly.
Okay, sure. I think there's always an ongoing seva that you can be part of. What we can do for Swamiji, for all the wonderful knowledge that we have received from him, is to help him spread this out and become our little instruments in spreading this knowledge. And that can happen in a lot of ways. We can create content, we can like, share, comment, and now I think the seva is where you watch the videos. So you're going to get benefited when you watch the videos and you contemplate, and whatever nugget you like, you put the timestamp for it, and then our video team will take it over and create shorts for people, so that we can send it out in our social media. Shorts these days are picking up big time. So any nugget that we pick up from a video, you just record the timestamp for that, and then somebody will pick it up and create shorts out of it. So if you are watching videos or if you want to be part of that seva, I think Sandhya is going to share some guidelines around it. Be part of it. Fantastic seva. It's a great way to help in this, spreading this beautiful knowledge out to more and more people.
So,
okay, are we good then?
Devotional segment.
Okay. You can stay back now. We can probably have a couple of hands. So this is how we will format the devotional segment going forward. You can put in your names. That way we know that 2 or 3, we'll try to wrap it up around 10, 15, 10, 20 every day. Maybe 3 hands we'll take, and we'll limit it to 2 minutes each. And we'll try to rotate people, especially if we have more hands. But for today, because we did not announce it beforehand, you can put in your names for tomorrow. Today, if anybody wants to do that, you can raise your hand, and then we can have probably a couple of hands for today's chanting. Yes, Dinesh, good to see your hand. Please, you'll have to turn on your video. We want to see people chant as well.
Dinesh, please go ahead.
Go ahead, Dinesh.
Yeah, let me turn on my video. Okay. Since today is Mahatma Gandhi's birthday, I'm going to sing his favorite bhajan. It's in Gujarati, Vaishnav Janto Tene Kahiye, written by Gujarat Saint Sri Narsi Mehta.
Narsi Mehta ji, okay.
Yeah. वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जाने रे पर दुखे उपकार करे तोय मन अभिमान न आणे रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए सकल लोक मां सौने वंदे निंदा न करे के नीरे वाच काछ मन निश्चल राखे धन धन जननी तेनी रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए समदृष्टि ने तृष्णा त्यागी पर सृजने मात रे जीवथ की सत्य न बोले पर धन नव जाले हाथ रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए मोह माया व्यापे नहीं जेने दृढ़ वैराग्य जना मन मारे राम नाम सु तारी रे लागी सकल तीर्थ तेना तन मारे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए वण लोभी ने कपट रहित छे काम क्रोध निवार्या रे भणे नर सयो तेनु दर्शन करता भणे नर सयो तेनु दर्शन करता पूर को तेर तार्या रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने रे कहिए पीड़ पराई जाने रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने रे कहिए थैंक यू राधे राधे
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Dinesh ji. Beautiful, melodious bhajan and very soulfully sung. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Maybe one more hand we can take.
You can do it, Nitinji.
Oh, you put me on the spot, huh? Nice
Okay.
try. All right, I can do that. Maybe a couple of lines, but Sai Ram ji is going to do. Please go ahead, Sai Ram ji.
Radhe Radhe. I have a Kabir Doha based on Maya. Since you were talking about the mind. So, Manuwa to panchi bhaya, udi ke chalya akash. Manuwa to panchi bhaya, udi ke chala akash. ऊपर ही ते गिर पड़ा मन माया के पास कबीरा मन माया के पास.
Very nice, beautiful. It's a very interesting plot that, right? See, God is divine. We are divine, his energy, right? Now, the faculties that he has given us to experience the world. The world is Maya, and then he's given us the faculties made up of Maya, right? So it's like automatically, and now he wants us to, put an effort to understand the source of it. Okay, who is actually the, what you call that, the person behind this whole thing, and you make that a priority and turn that, that whole process around. It's a pretty interesting plot if you look at it that way, right? If our intellect was divine, then we would automatically be gravitating towards the divine stuff. It's made up of Maya, material, and it'll find its own kind of a thing, right? Sajatiya Sambandh, something cut from the same cloth, it'll have an affinity towards it. And now he wants us to reverse that. Pretty interesting in that sense. Great, beautiful. Thank you so much, Sai Ramji. So let me
Radhe.
sing a couple of lines from Radha Govind Geet. Just Radha Govind chanting, that's Nam Sankirtan, that's all. Let's do that. Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe 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 Hari Guru Bhajanit Govind Radhe Bhavanish Kam Ananya Bana De Bhavanish Kam Ananya Bana De Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe. Okay. Maharaj used to say that this one verse, right, it pretty much sums up the entire scriptures, right? Hari, Guru, Bhaj, Nit, Govind Radhe, that just worship your Guru and Hari, God. And then more importantly, Bhav, Nishkam and Ananya Banade. That's it. They said there's nothing else to be known in scriptures. Just do that and you're done. Easy said than done, but very deep, very profound. Okay, maybe we'll sing some lines from Radha Govind Geet and Shama Sham Geet periodically because they are loaded with Tattva Gyan. One line you pick up, you can just keep thinking about it for the rest of the day. That's how deep it is. But great, thank you again for your enthusiastic participation. Tomorrow we are not meeting, so don't turn up. If you come tomorrow at 9 p.m., you have joined one day early. Okay, I'm just letting you know. Tomorrow, unfortunately, we'll have to cancel the session and then we'll meet again on Wednesday night, which is Thursday morning India time. And then after that, we have our quiz coming up as well. So thank you, everybody, for your wonderful participation. And it's good to see, Michelle, where are you joining us from? I see you turning on your video and joining for the last couple of classes. Good to see you. Where are you joining us from?
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis. So how did you ended up in our session? Where did you get the link or hear about it?
I think I was just searching around for anything online for learning.
Okay, good. So did you have some exposure to Bhagavad Gita before, or is it your first time?
I have a little bit, but not with good explanation.
Okay, I hope you're enjoying the sessions, you're finding this beneficial.
Yeah, definitely. Thank
Good
you.
to have. Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Anything? Or we are good now for the day? Okay, Radhe Radhe. Good night, good day, everybody. I'll see you day after tomorrow.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nitinji. Radhe Radhe.
Bye.
I will close the bridge now.